Good afternoon. Welcome to my demonstration of my homework solution for the assignment from lesson number 45 of Mr. Paul McWhorter's AI on the Edge tutorial series. In this homework assignment, we are to create a rotating rainbow that goes around our NeoPixel ring and rotates like this. So what we're doing here is we're going to use the HSV color space, which you see over here on the left. We start at red, which is 0. We rotate clockwise around through the colors all the way back to red, which is 1. So everything is normalized between 0 and 1. We have 12 individual LEDs on our NeoPixel ring. So we're going to divide this HSV circle up into 12 individual colors. So you can see here our LED from 0 to 11. The hue evenly spaced through there, the red, green, blue values that correspond to that hue, and what the human color should be. We red, orange, yellow. We go all the way down to greens, the blues, and back to rose. And then from 11 in rose, we're going to loop right back to 0 with red. The way the NeoPixel is oriented, LED number 0 is this bottommost LED at the very bottom of that you see right here. And then we go counterclockwise 0, 1, 2, 3 where we're at chartreuse, 4, 5, 6 at cyan, 7, 8, 9 to violet, 10, 11, 12, which is 0, and we're back to red. So we're going to set this up where our rainbow rotates both in the clockwise direction, and then we're going to stop and we're going to rotate in the counterclockwise direction. So let's take a look at the code. So you can see here, we're going to import time, board, NeoPixel library, color, sys, and math. We have to do some calculations. This first function here, HSV2RGB, this is a function that Mr. McWhorter gave us in lesson number 45, and we're just using the color sys, which is doing all of the work, to convert our HSV value into an RGB value. So we're only varying the hue. We're leaving saturation and value at 1. Then we go in and we have a class definition for the NeoPixel. Defining this in a class rather than just writing it out in a script saves a whole lot of typing. So we initialize our NeoPixel ring. We're going to pass it an SPI object, the number of LEDs that are on the NeoPixel, the pixel order, we're using green, red, blue, and a brightness value. Now, brightness was not covered in Mr. McWhorter's lecture, but I found it in the documentation for the NeoPixel library. So we're going to do two different cases. We're going to use a brightness of 1, which is as bright as it can get, and we're going to do a much lower brightness down around 0.15. And what we're trying to do is the LEDs are so bright that they wash out the camera, and it's very hard to see them properly on the video. I'm still working on some things that maybe we can solve this problem, but right now we're going to try brightness. All right, so in our Dunder method here for initialization, we have all of our values. Then we set up the NeoPixel object from the NeoPixel library. We get that and we're ready to go. Then we have some methods down here that we're going to use. We have clear ring, which just turns the ring off, sets everything back to 0. We have pixel on method, which we're going to use to turn on individual LEDs. We have fill ring where we fill the entire ring with the same color. We're going to blink red and blue. You'll see that when we run the code here in a minute. Then we get down here to the running rainbow, and this is where all the work happens. So we're going to define a list of what we're calling start colors. This is going to be all the colors that we saw earlier. We're going to run through here. We're going to calculate the hues, get the color, and then set the start color based on what we find from the HSV to RGB function. Then we're going to be ready to start rotating. So we're going to rotate through. We have some time stuff here. We're going to look at various delay times where the rotation is slow, fast, and then so fast it's almost just a blur. So we're going to rotate through in the clockwise direction here. Then we're going to go down and we're going to reverse the rotation and go counterclockwise. So you'll see the difference between the two is when we're calculating our index for each LED as we're working through the color list. Here we're going to add count, and count is just an iterator that we go through every time we make a loop. And when we reverse the direction, now we're subtracting the count. Then we're going to blink the red blue 3 times to show us that we've completed one thing and we're moving on to the next. So since we put all the work in the class definition up here, the main program is very short and simple. So we're going to set up the SPI object. We're going to put the details for our NeoPixel ring here. Then we're going to create an object based on what we have. Then we're going to create another object where we're changing the brightness down to 0.15. We have a list here of delay times. This controls how quickly we rotate around the ring. So we start off at half a second and things are going to be fairly slow. And then we're going to go all the way down to 0.01 seconds, which is going to be just a blur. And we're going to run through each one of these for a 5-second duration. All right, so let's go ahead and run the code and pay attention to the NeoPixel ring. Okay, so we've almost completed our first pass through at full brightness. Now we're going to turn the brightness down and we're going to see if this comes up any better on the video. All right, that has been my demonstration of homework number 45. I'm looking forward to seeing Mr. McWhorter's solution in the next lesson, and we hope to see everybody there. Thank you very much and have